Today I'm going to explain the movie The Scorpion King, released in the year 2002. The movie starts and we see the people of a tribe gathered in a big hall as they celebrate the capture of a renowned assassin. The assassin, however, goes on to tell them that they are a bunch of stupid heads. They should be running out of there for their lives, as his brother must be around, and when he gets there, he's going to kill them all. This is when our main character of the movie, Matthias, shows up and goes on to save his brother's life, just as he was about to be killed by the captors. Matthias goes on to beat the crap out of them and kills many as well. The scene then shifts, and we are told that this film is based in times way before the pyramids of Egypt. We are shown a man named Memnon, who happens to be very cruel, and is a very powerful man. His dream is to rule the whole world. He happens to have a sorceress with him who tells him the future. She tells him what is the right time to attack his enemies, and also tells him about their attacks as well, so that makes him unbeatable. Whenever someone conspires against Memnon, they always end up getting defeated by him. Memnon's territory is increasing rapidly because he keeps defeating people as he moves forward. He keeps invading local tribes. Some remaining tribes are now terrified of him, and they fear that the day is not far when Memnon is going to rule them all. The scene changes to a king talking to his people. They talk about Memnon, and the king goes on to say that they're going to have to find a way to defeat Memnon now. The people, however, go on to advise their king against it, because they have already accepted the fact that this man cannot be defeated. The king then says that the biggest advantage and the power Memnon has is the sorceress named Cassandra. If they're able to kill the sorceress, they might be able to defeat Memnon. One of King's men goes on to say that they're willing to do that, but who on earth is going to take the risk to sneak into Memnon's heavily guarded palace to kill the sorceress? This is when we see Matthias, his half-brother Jessup, and their friend Rama, the only three true remaining Akkadians, and they're hired by the king named Pharaon of the Free Tribes to kill Memnon's sorcerer for 20 blood rubies. Matthias says that the job will be done, and leaves there. He makes his way to the palace of Memnon. There the palace is, of course, heavily guarded, and the brothers say goodbye to each other in case they die, because they now have to separate. The three get in there and go on to kill many soldiers. However, one tent full of soldiers is there, and they do not know about it. The soldiers come out and attack them. After fighting his way through them all for a long time, Matthias manages to get to the chambers of the sorceress. He's about to take a shot at the sorceress, who's looking the other way. However, when she turns, Matthias is mesmerized by how beautiful she is, and she then tells him that he has been trapped there. This is when Memnon, along with many of the soldiers, shows up, and they have now surrounded Matthias with their heavy weapons pointed at him. He has nowhere to go. It turns out that the king who sent Matthias has a son, and the son turned out to be a traitor, as he went behind his father and told Memnon that Matthias was coming to kill the sorceress. The son also has the head of his father. He himself wanted to become the leader of the Free Tribes, so he just killed his own father. Memnon then goes on to kill Matthias' brother in front of his eyes, and he's powerless. Matthias is heartbroken, and just as Memnon is about to slit Matthias' throat, Cassandra stops him. She lies to Memnon, saying he or his men cannot kill him, and if they do, bad things are going to happen. Memnon then goes on to bury Matthias in the desert to be devoured by fire ants at dawn. Matthias escapes with help from a horse thief, Arpid, and desires to finish his mission and avenge his brother. Matthias then makes his way to the tribe of Memnon yet again. He goes to the market and sees a kid there who is a pickpocket and tries to steal from Memnon. Matthias goes on to ask the kid how he can manage to get into Memnon's palace. The kids then try to steal the rubies from him yet again, but he catches them. Seeing that the kid wants the ruby, the kid sends him to a man who seems like a mess, but in fact is very useful. He's good at making explosives. When Matthias goes to see the man, he does not like Matthias at all and tells him to get out of there at once, as he's busy. Matthias then comes out and sees that the kid whom he gave the ruby has been caught by the soldiers there. They've caught him thinking he's a thief because he has the ruby. They take him to Memnon, who orders the kid's hand to be cut. Memnon is just about to cut off the boy's hand with his axe, but Matthias hits it with an arrow, and the kid's hand is saved just like that. The soldiers have now turned their attention to Matthias. They go on to rain down arrows at the man, who barely manages to get out of their sight as he jumps off the roof and lands in an area that is used to bathe by the people in the palace, and all the women there get weirded out by his sudden appearance. It is his lucky day, as the woman there is Cassandra, and she's bathing. He gets there in her bath, and when the soldiers get to the chambers looking for Matthias, he and Cassandra get underwater and use the tunnels to get out of there. So Matthias has now kidnapped Cassandra from the palace, and he takes her to the place where Arpid is already waiting for him with a camel, as they're now in a desert. Cassandra now sits in his lap as they move forward on the camel. Cassandra goes on to ask him why he has kidnapped her, and he tells her that Memnon has killed his brother, so he wants to avenge his brother. Matthias adds that Memnon is definitely going to come to get Cassandra back, because she is his most precious possession and the secret behind his success. And when he comes to take her, Matthias plans on killing him, hence avenging his beloved brother. He tells her that after he's killed Memnon, he will kill her as well, because he's gotten money for her murder. Cassandra now gets a little scared, and that night when they're all asleep, she tries to get out of there, but falls because her foot has been tied with a rope, and the other end of that rope is tied to Matthias's foot. He wakes up and catches her. She gets pissed at him and goes on to hit him powerlessly, showing how helpless she is against him. He then pins her to a boulder and goes on to ask why did she save his life from Memnon. She tells him that she's been held captive by Memnon ever since she was a young girl, but when she saw Matthias, she thought he might be able to get her out of there, and that is why she saved his life. Hearing this, Matthias goes on to untie her, as he now knows that she would never go back to Memnon. On the other hand, we see Memnon ordering one of his captains to lead a party to hunt down Matthias. He gives him a poisoned arrow, telling him to hit Matthias with it and he will die. Matthias, on the other hand, is now on his way, and this is when he sees the captain approaching with many other soldiers. Matthias also sees a storm coming, and he tells both Arpid and Cassandra to hide, while he deals with the captain and his soldiers. He decides to take advantage of the storm and finds a cave to hide. Just when the captain gets there with his men, Matthias starts killing them one by one, and the captain is the only one left at the end, and he is horrified. He ends up striking a fatal blow to the captain as well, but before the captain falls, he manages to stab Matthias with a poisoned arrow, and the poison takes effect right away. The storm has now died down, and Cassandra, along with Arpid, sees that Matthias is falling down. When they get there, they see an arrow stabbed into his foot, and just as he takes the arrow out of his foot, he collapses to the ground and goes unconscious. That night, Cassandra tries to heal him as she sits beside him. Arpid goes on to ask if he is ever going to wake up, and Cassandra tells him that she cannot say anything for sure, because the poison has now mixed with his blood. When Cassandra realizes that there's no other way, she goes on to take his poison in herself using her magic, and the next day we see that Matthias is up and going. He is told by Arpid that Cassandra has risked her own life to save his, and Matthias does not like it. He asks her why on earth did she do that, and she tells him that he's the only one who can save the people of all these tribes from Memnon, so it is important that he lives. Matthias is really impressed by her, and he then goes on to take the locket of the dead captain sent by Memnon. He puts this locket on an eagle and sends it to Memnon, who is pissed at learning that all his soldiers, along with the captain, have been single-handedly killed by Matthias. On the other hand, as Matthias and the others move forward in the desert, they run into Philos, the man Matthias saw at Memnon's palace, who works at explosives. He's there to experiment on some explosives. He's really happy to see Cassandra, and Cassandra is also happy to see him. He then decides to help them take down Memnon. As they move forward, they get caught by some tribesmen, who take them to their leader named Balthazar. Balthazar is not at all happy to see Matthias, as he goes on to say that he, along with his tribe, have been living there away from Memnon, but Matthias has done a stupid thing by bringing his sorceress there. Now Memnon is going to attack his tribe because he's going to come looking for her. He then says that he's going to have the 4 of them killed, and this is when a great fight between Balthazar and Matthias begins. The fight goes on for a long time, and it seems like it's going to end only when one of them dies. Matthias manages to get the upper hand in the fight, but he decides to not kill Balthazar, which really impresses the latter. Matthias then goes on to give a speech, in which he makes Balthazar and his tribesmen realize that he's not their enemy, and he does not at all want them to get hurt. Their common enemy is the one and only Memnon, and they should be working together to take him down, because if they don't do so, Memnon is going to finish them all. He tells them that if they want to live a free life, they should come with him and take down Memnon, or he will be ruling on them in the generations to come as well. That night, Matthias, along with his friends, stay with the people of the tribe, and that night, Cassandra is showing affection to a little boy when she sees a vision in which she sees the people of this tribe being killed by Memnon and his forces. It means Memnon is going to attack soon. She right away goes to Matthias and goes on to tell him the whole thing. They seem to be getting closer, and when she touches his hand, she goes on to see another vision in which she is terrified to see that Matthias is being killed. She sees him getting shot down with many arrows. She is now too scared, and Matthias tells her to keep it calm, adding that she has already told him the future. Now it is his job to change it. They then spend some time together and keep getting close to each other. One thing leads to another, and both of them go on to have sex. Later on, when Matthias is asleep, she decides that she must do something to save the people of this tribe from the wrath of Memnon. She gets out of the tent and sees Matthias' camel there. She now decides that she's going to go back to Memnon and try to finish him off before he rides out to destroy this tribe to ashes. When Matthias wakes up the next morning, he's scared when he does not find Cassandra anywhere. He thinks that she might have been taken and decides that he's going to finish off Memnon that very day. Balthazar says that he's all ready for the war, and they decide to ride out to finish off Memnon once and for all. On the other hand, Memnon has been readying his forces, but they're not willing to go to war unless they personally hear it from Cassandra that they're the ones who are going to win the war. When Memnon does not have the answer because he no longer has Cassandra, he's shocked when Cassandra shows up out of nowhere and she tells the soldiers that they are going to win this war. Matthias, with help from Balthazar, Arpid, Philos, and the army of rebels, launches an all-out assault on Memnon's strongholds, facing Memnon personally before he can kill Cassandra. Balthazar takes on the full force of Memnon's forces alone and kills Takhmet during the battle, thus avenging King Pharaon. The battle continues until Matthias is shot by a guard, as predicted by Cassandra. As Memnon is about to claim victory, Cassandra kills the guard while Matthias retrieves his bow and shoots an arrow at the exhausted Memnon, sending him off the edge of the roof and into a set of flames where he dies. Philos and Arpid use the explosive power to destroy the palace's foundation stone, bringing down Memnon's forces. With the battle over, the remnants of Memnon's army bow before Matthias, who by their law is proclaimed the Scorpion King. In the aftermath, Matthias and Balthazar share a good-natured farewell as the latter returns to his own kingdom. Cassandra tells Matthias that she sees a period of peace and prosperity coming, but warns him that it will not last forever. Undeterred, Matthias decides that they will make their own destiny. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.